What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, I am going to be diving into one of my favorite Dario Argento films, Tenebrae, the new Synapse release on 4K, and I'm so excited to get into this one. I didn't know if I was going to have enough time to review and talk about this one. I've been talking about the Chucky 4Ks like crazy, but I had to make time to talk about this release because it's just one of the best releases of the year, to be honest. Look at that image on the back, this artwork. I just love this artwork. I like the arrow artwork. I did want it to match my other versions, but I just could not pass up this release right here from Synapse Films. We're going to get into talking about this, the movie, the transfer, the audio, the special features, and all that good stuff. But before we get into it, guys, I have to ask, if you're not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, hit the subscribe button. We talk about physical media on this channel all the time. New 4K Blu-ray reviews. I do physical media reports every single Monday. Blu-ray hunting videos occasionally, unboxings, collection hauls, just tons of stuff. Physical media content on this channel. If you like all this stuff right here behind me, it is closer right now. I know, guys, if you watch my channel regularly, you're probably like, Ken, what are you doing? You're in front. Well, you've changed positions. This isn't right. Sometimes I just like to come over here next to my movies, and I just feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know. It just feels like a more comfortable area to review and talk about Tenebrae. Get by the fire. The movie opens with the fire, and it shows the title card by the fire, and this kind of feels like I'm a fireside chat talking about Dario Argento here today on this channel. But yeah, I told you how to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Turn on the bell notifications. You got to turn on the bell notifications. But I do want you guys to let me know, have you heard of this movie before? Because the reason why I decided to go ahead and talk about this is because if you don't know about this movie, if you're not familiar with giallos and Italian cinema and Dario Argento as a filmmaker, like, I want you guys to learn who this guy is and just learn about this movie, because there's just some of the greatest horror movies, horror experiences of all time. And I just have to kind of shed some light on it, on this filmmaker, this release, this transfer. It's stunning. I don't feel like enough people are talking about this one. So let's talk about Tenebrae. So directed by Dario Argento. This movie came out in 1982, another absolute banger from 1982. That was such an incredible year. I think I actually recommended it in my 1982 video recently, but written by Dario Argento as well, starring Anthony, and I am going to butcher this name, but Franciosa as Peter Neal, and John Saxon, the dad from Nightmare on Elm Street. John Saxon was in a ton of movies that I haven't checked out. I need to check out more John Saxon, and he plays the character of Bulmer. And then, of course, starring the lovely Daria Nicolodi, who is, was Dario Argento's wife for a length of time. I love her. Every single movie I see her in. She was in Deep Red, also by Dario Argento. I watched a Mario Bava film earlier this year called Shock. She was the lead in that. Everything this actress is in, I love. I just love her. I love her on-screen presence. Such a distinct, unique look. So she plays the character of Annie in this movie. So basically, I can get this release out. Let's show you all the... I'll do a little unboxing as I go, guys. This is going to be a very relaxed and chilled review here today. But this is the classic poster artwork for Tenebrae. So I'm going to read the synopsis right here off the back. So this is centered around Peter Neal, the character of Peter Neal. He is an American mystery author, and he comes to Rome to promote his newest novel, Tenebrae, and a razor-wielding psychopath is on the loose, taunting Neal and murdering those around him in gruesome fashion, just like the character in his novel. So it's one of those type of movies where, like, art's imitating life, and you have a novelist and an author that's like has like a copycat killer, like is trying to recreate some of the stuff in his novel. I love stuff like that. I love stories like that. So it's a really cool setup to a story here. And I think that this one is probably the easiest and most cohesive, like, narrative-wise story to follow of most of the Dario Argento movies that I've seen. I always compare this one to Deep Red, and always in my mind, I'm just trying to decide, which one do I like more? Do I like Deep Red more, or do I like this film more? They're both neck and neck as far as my favorite Argento film. But what I will say is that Deep Red is probably the purest as far as the giallo genre. as far as just like incorporating those like detective mystery noir aspects in with the slasher horror, because that is in essence, in a nutshell, what the giallo is. It is the mixture of the detective noir genre and the slasher horror genre, just kind of fusing those two things together. And Dario Argento really helped popularize that and bring it to the forefront of Italian cinema. In the 70s and the 80s, he really kind of led that charge for giallos and Italian horror filmmaking. So, but going back to this movie, I would say that Deep Red is the more pure one. It definitely has more like detective notes in it. They're like doing more detective work throughout that film than I feel like they do in Tenebrae. It really just centers around this author, and he's kind of like trying to figure out what's going on around him as it's happening. You got some law enforcement people involved as well. But what I will say about Tenebrae is it came out in the 80s. It came out post Halloween. It came out post Friday the 13th. So the slasher genre at this point in time was in full swing. So I kind of feel like this was Dario Argento's answer to the slasher genre. Just the way that this film is constructed, it is very slasher-like. You have the naked women holed up in the house and they're being stalked by the killer, taken out systematically. That reminds you straight up of a slasher film. And the kills in this movie are very much over the top, just very in your face. Some great kills in this film. I would say probably two of my favorite kill sequences in the entire slasher genre, horror genre, whatever you want to say. But the ending, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to show the back of this box again, but something happens at the end with a woman and her arm that is just so out there and ridiculous. It's hilarious. When it happens, if you've watched a ton of horror and you're kind of desensitized to this kind of stuff as I am, you'll laugh. You will laugh your ass off when this happens, but it doesn't take away from it. It's still a gruesome moment, but the kill is just so out there and awesome. Just what happens after the initial like cuts or act happens is just completely ridiculous. I love that kill, but I also love the kill with the girl that gets like the bed sheet over her shirt, or she's putting on her shirt, and just the shot that Argento gets from like her face in the hole of her shirt as he gets ready to gut her or kill her or stab her or whatever he does, is just a breathtaking shot. There's some beautiful cinematography in this movie, some really spectacular camera work. I'm just thinking of that like one take sequence where the camera basically, it starts it, and this is all centered around, this is a great set piece in the movie, that there's a lesbian couple in a house and they're being stalked by the killer, and it takes the camera from the shot of the girl in the window, and then it follows it all the way up the outside wall of the house into the next room with the other girl as she's getting dressed, and then it kind of follows it all the way up the roof and down. It's just such a unique sequence, all while the incredible Goblin score is just blaring over top of it. I love the Goblin score in this one. I love the score in Suspiria as well. That's like one of my favorite horror scores, but every single time I listen to the score in Tenebrae, it's like I love it even more. So it might actually at some point overtake the Goblin score. I just love it so much. It's just so unique and just kind of, it just has this like real like rock and roll vibe to it. And I really vibe to the song in this one. I don't know, the score. I just think it's really awesome. This movie really is more of a slasher film than it is a giallo, but it could still be lumped into that giallo genre just because it does have that detective element to it. There is a lot of mystery and intrigue in this movie as well. So yeah, really good kills. I enjoy the story. All the performances are great. I think Anthony Franciosa does a terrific job as a lead character in this movie, and I just enjoy all the characters and all the performances. There's another thing to note, there's some really nice looking women in this movie, I will say. Not to be a pig or anything, but there's just some really, really gorgeous ladies in this movie. I gotta say that off the top, that get killed and taken out in just the most spectacular ways. So I just noticed that more so than any other of the Italian giallos that I've seen thus far. This one seems to really put those lovely ladies front and center, and I did appreciate that for sure. So yeah, this is just a great movie, guys. I have to recommend this if you haven't seen it. If you love horror movies, especially if you love horror slasher films, I think that this is the perfect introduction to Italian cinema, to Dario Argento as a filmmaker. I would also point to Deep Red as well, but if you are a slasher fan, I think this is the most accessible way to get into this genre and type of storytelling that Italian cinema, Italian giallos can deliver. So I love this movie. I gotta give this probably a 4.5 to 4.75 out of 5. Again, if I could do a 4.75 on Letterboxd, I would, but I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's damn good. It's definitely one of the best giallos that I've ever seen. Like I said, it's in very close contention with Deep Red. I might still give Deep Red the slight edge. I think it's a little bit better of a film that just has more surprises and twists to it. It just has a little bit more of that mystery element to it that I enjoy, but this is a damn good movie. Just really wild movie, and I love it. And yeah, getting into the transfer, Synapse did a fantastic job on the transfer. I knew this was going to look amazing from the beginning. I have to imagine that, I don't know exactly who did the work, but I'm sure that probably the Arrow release and this release is probably the exact same transfer because they did work together to put this out. This is a restoration of the original 35mm camera negative, and this film was conformed and graded in 4K HDR and Dolby Vision. So just everything, all the bells and whistles for this 4K restoration, and it just looks absolutely amazing. Like, I cannot overemphasize how good this movie looks. I love film from the 70s, from the 80s, just that classic era that they just put a nice shine on the restoration and just really do a great job restoring it. Like, nothing looks better than old cinema restored in 4K. And this movie just has a lot of really flashy sequences, just a lot of kills, just a lot of blood, a lot of gore that just looks amazing and excellent in 4K. Just some of the facial details. Like I said, just some of these transfers recently have really just been blowing me away. You can just see everything on their faces. You can see everything in the background. So I think that this transfer is just immaculate. It's some of the best work that I've seen done in 4K. And it's no surprise because Synapse did the 4K restoration of Suspiria, and that's one of the best that I've ever seen as far as a 4K restoration. So it's just a really lively, colorful film that just with some great cinematography that just looked fantastic in 4K. A good amount of grain, but not too much to overpower. But you do notice some, but again, that never really takes away from it for me. Like, it's nice when it's a really clean, crisp transfer, but I don't mind a little grain in there as long as that HDR is firing on all cylinders. You can just see all of the vibrant colors and the reds and the deep black levels. And as long as all that stuff is going good, and I just notice like the depth of the actual film. It's just watching a movie in 4K, it's just, you really feel the weight of what you are seeing, and that's why I enjoy these 4K transfers so much. So they did a spectacular job with Tenebrae. I can't say enough good things about this transfer and this release. Now, getting into the audio, it does have restored original lossless mono on the Italian and English soundtrack. So now there are two versions that you can watch this in. You can watch it in Italian dub or you can watch it in English dub. And the reason I say that, they're both dubbed, but a lot of these like older Italian movies that you'll notice when you watch these like old giallo films, at least I have, is they'll have characters that speak both English, like John Saxon's in this movie and he's an English speaking actor. And then you have the Italian actors in this film, but they're both like, acting together and talking together like normal. So you have the Italian version where John Saxon's speaking in Italian. His voice is dubbed, but the Italian actors' voices aren't dubbed. And then the English version, John Saxon is speaking English and the Italian actors are being dubbed in English as well. So it's a weird thing that happened back then, but you just kind of have to overlook that. I do think that this one had some really good English speaking dubbed voiceovers. I think that the actors that were doing the dubbing were doing a great job with it. So it didn't really take me out of it like it does sometimes with some of the dub stuff that I've heard and seen in the past. So I think that the English dub is the way to go here, unless you're Italian. And getting into the special features, it's pretty much all the same special features from the previous Synapse Blu-ray release of Tenebrae. You do get like a full feature-length documentary, The Rise and Fall of the Giallo. And that's a really cool one. It's called Yellow Fever, The Rise and Fall of Giallo. It's about an hour and a half long, and they just go deep in just how the Giallo got started. So if you want to learn about the Giallo, watch that documentary and you will learn all you need to know about that. I watched about an hour of it. But yeah, you got commentaries in this and just tons of interviews and special features. And just getting into the packaging here, this is a 3-disc set. So you have Tenebrae on 4K, and then you have the Unsane edition. on 4K as well. And then you have the regular Blu-ray edition of Tenebrae on this set as well. So just 3 discs in this set. And the Unsane edition is the re-edited 90-minute US version, specifically recreated for this release from the new 4K restoration of the full-length 101-minute version, exclusive to UHD. So there is an exclusive cut to 4K in this release, so that has to make it worth it alone. And then you got, you know, getting into the packaging a little bit. I've already shown off the artwork. It's just beautiful, beautiful packaging all around with this release. You got these cool art cards and all that stuff. You know, Arrow Video, Synapse, and everybody always does a spectacular job with this stuff. And, you know, this is just the order form right here for Synapse. So, yeah, guys, look. I didn't even show off the booklet. I'm so horrible at doing this. But all that stuff was inside the actual case itself. And inside this box set, again, I'll show you the front and I'll show you the back. You got a poster in here. You got a poster. And this is the flaws of me sitting by my movies. I don't have anything to sit this stuff on. Right there, I love that original poster. And then you have the... That's the shot from the film when she's looking through the hole of her shirt. Great shot. Great shot. And then you got a cool little booklet in here. You know, they go all out. They go all out with these releases. And I really appreciate it. And there you have it, guys. That is my review of the 4K edition of Tenebrae. I cannot recommend this one enough. It's about $39.99 on Amazon right now. I will leave the link down below. So, like I said, if you don't know too much about the giallo and Italian cinema, this is the perfect introduction. I absolutely recommend that you get this one in 4K. So appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.